Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving straight into the secret engine that's really powering modern AI. And spoiler alert here, it is absolutely not just a giant stack of microchips. We're going to explore the Codatta Protocol. It's this genuinely fascinating paradigm shift in how human expertise is valued, and more importantly, how it's monetized in the age of artificial intelligence.
Okay, Section 1. AI's most vital ingredient, the human element.
So let me throw a question out there for you. What do you think is AI's absolute #1 most important ingredient? If you follow the daily tech news, you'd probably just assume the answer is massive server farms, right? Endless racks of GPUs or billions of lines of code. But is massive computing power really the whole story?
Well, the answer might actually surprise you. It's people. Yeah, literally us. And we aren't just talking about armies of crowd workers doing basic, repetitive data entry. Not at all. We are talking about humans with highly complex judgment. Think of a cardiologist spotting a nearly invisible anomaly on an MRI, or a poet who truly understands the deep, subtle nuances of meter and emotion. Modern AI desperately needs this kind of deep, lived domain expertise if it's going to evolve.
See, human experts are actively having to teach these models incredibly nuanced skills. Imagine a self-driving car for a second. An expert actually has to teach it how to reason. They have to teach it how to weigh incredibly difficult trade-offs, like making the split-second decision between swerving into a ditch or hitting a mailbox. And most importantly, they have to teach it how to actually understand human intent. Machines just don't learn this stuff in a vacuum. They completely rely on our intelligence to learn from.
Which brings us to Section 2, the unfair value exchange, or the flaw in the current system.
Right now, there is a super stark contrast between how things work today and where they desperately need to go. Currently, your high-skill human insight is basically treated as a fleeting service. You do the work, you get your flat fee, and the value you created just vanishes. But the Codatta Protocol is proposing a massive paradigm shift here. They want to treat your high-skill insight not as a temporary gig, but as a lasting, permanent data asset.
Think about how frustrating the current setup is for a minute. You pour your hard-earned knowledge into a system, a model gobbles it up and trains on it, and then poof, it's gone. The immense value you just created disappears into some corporate black box. Sure, you might get paid once for your time, but you absolutely do not share in any of the future upside. Essentially, you're training your own replacement for free, while your expertise is just extracted with zero lasting reward for you. It's kind of wild when you think about it.
Let's move to Section 3. Data becomes an asset, reclaiming your worth.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. The logic is simple. If humans are the ones training the next generation of AI, they should actually own the intelligence they provide. Under this new system, every contribution you make becomes a digital asset with provenance, which basically means it permanently tracks exactly who contributed it. It also has royalty rights, so you get an automatic revenue share whenever it's used. The usage itself is entirely transparent and auditable. And finally, the ownership is recorded on-chain. That means it's fractionally yours, and you can even transfer it. You actually own what's in your head.
And what's great is that this new model perfectly aligns incentives for everyone involved. As a contributor, you get to earn continuously through usage-based royalties. It's not just a one-and-done payoff. But the developers, they win big here too. Instead of getting hit with those absolutely prohibitive, massive upfront costs just to acquire good datasets, they can adopt a much more flexible, pay-as-you-go model. It is a total win-win for the creators sharing their knowledge and the developers building the next big tools.
Section 4. Why blockchain makes it possible. The engine under the hood.
Let's unpack the tech jargon for just a quick second so we understand how this actually works. The whole foundation of this protocol relies on something called programmable ownership. What that means is every single contribution you make is securely tied to a cryptographic fingerprint. It's kind of like an unbreakable digital DNA tag. This seamlessly locks in exactly who owns what, right at the most foundational, granular level of the data itself.
Blockchain provides the exact specific tools needed to make sure your knowledge doesn't just vanish into the ether anymore. You get immutable provenance, so you can trace your exact data. You get automatic payouts that split revenue instantly on a global scale. And the best part, zero middlemen taking a cut. Add in the liquidity to trade or bundle your ownership fractions, and these open access logs that basically guarantee your data is never, ever silently reused behind your back. It's all verifiable.
Finally, Section 5. The new data economy and sharing the upside.
Shaping AI's next stage is not just about writing more code. Actually, scratch that. It's barely about the code at this point.
It's about teaching machines how the real world works. We need people who deeply understand the complex nuances of law, the literal life and death complexities of medicine, or the subtle, creative reasoning behind our art and culture. If you possess these kinds of skills, you are quite literally the key to the future of artificial intelligence.
There's this incredibly powerful quote straight from the Codatta Protocol text that really hits the nail on the head. It says, as AI accelerates, the scarcest resource won't be compute. It'll be high-resolution human intelligence. And it's so true, right? We can always build more server farms. We can always manufacture more chips. But you simply cannot mass-produce human genius. Codatta is building a much fairer economy where the actual humans behind these massive models finally get to share in the upside.
So this leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question for you to consider today. How will you turn your expertise into a lasting asset in the AI era? Because your lived experience, your judgment, your specific knowledge, it holds immense, ongoing value. In this rapidly emerging open economy, it is finally time to ensure that your value works for you, continuously. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and as always, keep learning.